Hi, this is Craig Gottwals, Galaxy Marine Pro Staffer, and we're out here on the Delta today with legendary Delta fisherman Robert Lee. Are we going to be catching him today, Robert?
I hope so. The tide's high. It's going to be low, in the midday, so we'll get to see all the different types of tides. The fish are mostly probably post-spawn or spawning, and June's a good month. All the fish are up shallow. We need to find some good grass and rock and good grass and tules, and we'll catch fish for sure. We're going to go to, the middle Delta. The tide's high, so we'll probably start on some rock banks with crankbaits and topwater, see what happens. As the tide recedes, I usually head out to the Tule Berm Islands and do more flipping, a little deeper, some deeper crankbaits, and possibly, if I can muster up some patience, a Cinco. So, but I struggle with that bait, especially in the wind, but they like it in the post-spawn.
Let's go fishing.
The tide's high, I like to try to, just to get started in the morning, I usually pull up on some rock bends. See how we got a rock bend coming up here? You can't really see the rocks too good because of the light. You throw your crankbaits and flip scattered tules along the rock bends on the high tide. You catch a lot of fish that way. If you get out on these islands and stuff, there's just a lot more water to fish when the tide's up. So you can kind of condense it down to the bank along these shorelines. I mean, it's real kind of easy, stupid fishing, but it's, a lot of good fish are caught that way.
So a lot of people watching the show probably know, but many people may not, that Robert Lee actually went back east and fished on the BASS tour for 4 years. What was that like, Robert?
Oh, it was fun. I got to see a lot of different places that I would have not normally seen if if it wasn't for fishing back there. But me and my dad are a partnership in a construction business, and I was flying and working and fishing, and after 4 years of that, I just got basically burnt out. I didn't know whether I was fishing or working or what, so I gave it up and decided to just stay out here and fish. Plus the fishing's better. Most of the places back east aren't. Some are really good, but most of them don't compare to the fisheries that are out here in the west. BASS came out here, I forget the year, it was in the late 90s, I imagine. And their first tournament that they had out west here was here at the Delta. And, I was fortunate enough to win that one. And then the next 3 invitationals I ended up winning also. And then when I was fishing back east, they decided to come out here and have a couple tournaments. One here and one at Clear Lake. And I was able to win that one too.
And it looks like you're cranking.
The fish on the Delta bite the best when the tide changes direction. And for those like 2 hours. My favorite tide's the first part of the outgoing and the first part of the incoming. And in between is okay, but the last part of everything, like the last part of the incoming, which is what we got now, they're already conditioned to where they're at, and they're not moving, they're not really feeding. So, and then the last part of the outgoing, they've already moved to where they're gonna go, and they're staying there for the tide to turn around and come in. So when the tide switches, the bite really turns on normally. That's what I think's going on right now. This tide's real high too.
I was gonna say, fishing behind a guy at the level of Robert, you really see the difference in how important it is to be a good caster, to be really familiar with your equipment, to be moving efficiently, to, if you do get a tangle, you got it out real quick. I mean, his bait's in the water twice as much as most of the people I fish with. And his casts are always within an inch or 2 of his target, and he's moving so much faster, and his efficiency level is so much higher than what you would normally see. It's really educational. It's really interesting to watch, a guy like that doing what he's doing, especially in a wind like this.
For the most part, I'm gonna basically fish this rock bend. There's another one down here we'll fish. The tide's not moving, it's just dead slack high, so it's kind of a tough deal right now. But once it starts to go out a little bit, they'll start biting.
Come on,
there
boy.
you go.
I know I said I was going to pitch behind you, but I broke off enough times, and with this tide as high as it is, I thought, man, I just want to crank for a while. Tired of fighting it. A little bit bigger, maybe, maybe not.
Another small one. He's about 1.5 pounds. Granted, he's small.
Oh, there we go. I got hit, joking around, having fun. They're all the same size today. I gotta get him behind the gill plates or he's gonna, or open his mouth. Open your mouth, buddy. Thank you. Joking around, having fun, catching fish.
It's another giant. Oh. It's okay, it takes little ones to make big ones.
I like when he catches fish because then I can throw way up there. Take the opportunity.
Yeah, we're gonna go out and fish one.
Being quiet, you know, low splash when you're pitching and flipping is really important to a lot of guys on the Delta. How important is it to you on a day like this where it's a little bit more windy and choppy out here?
Well, it's windy and choppy and the water's kind of stained, so it probably don't matter that much, but just in case it does, I like my bait to go in as quiet as I can make it because the water's shallow and a lot of the fish will eat it right away, so you really don't want to drop it down on their heads too hard.
So when you're moving along a stretch of bank like this or an island and you're flipping and pitching in the back of the boat, it's kind of tough because of course you want to be focusing on what you're doing, but it's not the worst idea to keep one of your eyes on the guy in the front of the boat, just so you can identify the nooks he threw into, because if you can hit the different little nooks and crannies, you're going to have a better chance of catching fish. Again, it's not super easy to be fishing and watching him, but it will improve your odds if you try and hit the little shade pockets and things that maybe he passed going through the first time. We've caught about 9 or 10 small fish. Fishing's terrible to him. Remember, I went out on New Melones in the February show. That was terrible fishing.
I live at Maloney.
What, the net, Robert?
No.
Yeah?
No. It's only like a 3.5 pounder.
Nice fish, though.
It's a little bigger.
We're upgrading.
It's about a 3.5 pounder. Looks like a male. And on that little log.
I was going to ask you if it came off that stick.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank both Galaxy Marine and Robert Lee for coming out here today and showing us what there is to learn on the Delta. It was a little bit of a tougher bite. We did catch quite a few smaller fish. Didn't quite catch the big one we were looking for, but definitely a lot to learn here when the wind is up, running the canals on the Delta, fishing with the Stren Angler of the Year.
Yeah, well, when the wind picks up, it eliminates the lakes. I mean, Frank's track, we went across it and it had 3 to 4 foot waves in it. So we based our day on the rivers where it's a little calmer, and you know, we didn't run across a lot of fish. I mean, a lot of good fish, a lot of little ones, but it was still a lot of fun. You could make a windy day into a good day and go out and catch some fish and have some fun.